Knows yo, this is very important, the biggest dharma of the evening. Yo is the evolution of oi. You know, oi worked for a couple thousand years and then it kind of stopped working. We went to yo. Okay, you got to know how to do yo. It's kind of like yo. Try that. Like yo. 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 Yeah. Yo. You're enlightened. We're done. Okay. This is good. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. So let me just share with you, what we want to do this evening. And there's a clock somewhere, because I know that Wendy wrote me an email saying we're going to be very punctilious about time. Where is that clock? Is that around someplace?
I'll have it for you.
Yeah? Oh, we're working with it?
Yeah, we're getting a new battery in it.
Ooh. Got it, okay. Okay.
Put it, where would you like me to set it?
Yeah, just down here someplace.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So let me just start right now. Like, what are we going to do this evening? What's this about? Like, why are we here together? So first, just being here together is just a great value by itself. It's just good to be in the room, right? Like, before we say anything, we could just kind of sit in the room. Just like, hey, this is a good room. Right? You can kind of feel that, right? It's a good room. Like, why say anything? Yeah, it's a good room. It's a good room. Now, what's your name?
Lawrence.
Lawrence. So Lawrence is saying, like, who is this guy? My mother's been asking that for a long time. We'll figure it out together. Okay, but that's really not what it's about. That's the first thing I want to say. Whenever we come to an evening, we kind of figure out, like, is it good? Is he interesting? Is he smart? Is he brilliant? Yes to all of the above. So now that we've gotten through that, right? That's like so not what it's about, right? Like, what we want to do this evening is actually kind of go somewhere together, right? So I want to just ask you to kind of step in and suspend, if you can, the kind of normal consumerism that we bring to everything, right? Is it good? Did I get enough, right? Was it worth it, right? Like, yo, that's how you use yo, like, yo, like, like, yo, relax, chill. It's okay. We really came to look at Brian's hat. Oh my God. Yo. You see, you're getting it. You're getting it. We're on our way to enlightenment, that's clear. So let me just say a couple of words about San Francisco, before we start. And what's great about San Francisco and what's not. And I'm going to kind of do some Dharma with you, kind of lay down some Dharma. And Tanya, right, my friend who actually just joined our kind of circle of study, is going to kind of lay down the Dharma in song and flute and however else it comes out. So we're going to kind of play the Dharma in those ways. But let me just start with, what do I mean by Dharma? Like, what is that? Okay? So there's this big San Francisco idea, and I don't mean just San Francisco, but the whole New Age human potential movement, that what really counts is that I have an experience. Like, did I have an experience? The last thing I want is somebody talking at me, right? Like, I want to check into my experience. So that is a huge fucking mistake. So I'm going to start there. Counterintuitive. Can't believe he just said that, but he did. So let me just work with it for a second, because it's a very big deal. And I really want to kind of go straight in with you. We're going to play. You'll have plenty of time to ask any question you want. We'll do at least 1 or 2 actual exercises, kind of working with each other. But we're going to kind of play into the Dharma. And here's why it's a mistake. There's nothing in the world that happens without being interpreted. Nothing. There's no event, no experience, right, that happens without interpretation. So we have lots of states of consciousness. I can have an altered state, a sexual state, a psychedelic state, an ecstatic state. But then I interpret that state. I tell myself what it means. And there's a prism of interpretation. So for example, if you're kind of an awesome Sufi mystic sitting in Damascus, and you're doing kind of the Sufi mystical thing, you will see this stunning image of the Sufi vision of the beloved lover Godhead. It's like, wow. And you'll say, wow, that's the truth. That's what the Godhead looks like, and you'll get all sorts of dogma out of that about what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to relate to it. If you're doing the same set of practices, having the exact same experiences in West Africa, you'll see the tribal ancestors in your vision. You're doing the same practices. If you're doing those same practices, kind of in France at a convent, and you're kind of a nun there, you're trying to do the real Madonna thing and kind of pray your way to God, right? You're kind of doing it with your cross, and it's kind of happening, and you kind of have the ecstatic explosion, you're going to see Jesus or Mother Mary. Right? If you're a Jewish mystic in the back streets of Jerusalem, and you're doing the same practices, you're going to see some vision of the Shekhinah, of the feminine goddess divine. You begin to get what I mean? So you're doing these practices, but actually what you think is that when you see this vision, you think this is the truth. You actually build a religion upon it. And you actually kill anyone, right, who might not actually agree with your religion because you actually saw this in a vision. And you actually have a first person living, alive, awake experience that this is true. The Lord Jesus saves, right? Oh, we're not going to do that tonight. I'm sorry, it's the wrong place. I'm sorry. I got a little confused. I'm sorry, right? But you get.
Could I
Sure.
lower your scarf?
People always tell me to do that. I'm sorry. Should I just take it off?
That'd be best.
Oh, that's okay.
All right.
You feel better now?
I feel much better.
Big hand to Dean. Thank you, Dean. Yeah. Thank you very much. So everyone get that? So that's like a big deal. So we think that we're having a first-person experience and that we're just being informed. No sneezing, please. I'm sorry. That's okay, but it's okay. That's hard. Right? Yo. Right? We think we're being informed by the experience. The experience is speaking to us. It's not. There's a prism of interpretation. And what we've forgotten is to create new prisms of interpretation. We attacked correctly lots of the great prisms of interpretation of the great traditions. Whether it was this mysticism or that, we attacked all the great frameworks and we deconstructed them. But then what were we left with? We were left with no way to access deep truth, a confusion between deep truth and dogma. We said all deep truth, well, that's the old dogma. There's no deep truth. There's just my experience. It's not true. Actually, there's deep truth. You can actually find it. And you can actually find the places where all the great traditions of knowing agree. That's kind of wild. You can actually get beneath the surface structures, and you can find that underneath the surface structures there's a Dharma. And a Dharma is not a dogma. A dogma is something that somebody else experienced, interpreted, and told you it was true, and said that if you believe that this is true, it's going to be good for you. You'll be saved, you'll be redeemed, you'll be aligned, you'll be good. That's a dogma. We're not into dogma. We're into Dharma. Dharma means that actually we can go deep inside, have a first-person experience, but we're going to actually interpret that experience through the best map available of wisdom in the world at this moment today. It's a big deal. It's a big claim. Now, to be really clear, the best map available today is not going to be the best map available in 50 years because the world's evolving. So we're not going to claim this is the only map. We're not going to reify the map. We're not going to freeze the map, but we're going to say at this moment in history, this is the best we have, the best understanding we have, and it brings together the deepest understanding of the most subtle and speculative, gorgeous, ecstatic minds all through history who all did experiments. Scientific, they all did experiments. They all had conclusions from their experiments. We gathered all the data, and we realized that all these great experiments that wanted to know the inner nature of reality all over the world, they shared about 10 things in common, or about 10 things everybody agreed on in terms of the interior face of reality. Now, would you want to live in the world and not know what those 10 things are? I don't think so, right? That's kind of crazy. It's like you get a car, you get a little user's guide, right? But life, no, I'm just hanging. I'm going to a couple seminars here, there, whatever, like, like it's crazy. That's insane. Right? Like not to know what are the 10 core structures of reality that pretty much every wise system, pre-modern, modern and postmodern, pre-modern meaning the great religious traditions, modern science, psychology, empiricism, right? Postmodern, evolution, hermeneutics, right? Pre-modern, modern, postmodern. Bring together the best systems of knowing from everywhere. What do they share in common? What's the deep knowing? That's what we're interested in. That's Dharma. Okay? That's called, the word for that I have is the patterns that connect. So I want to say a sentence. I want to ask you if you can kind of find it in your body, the sentence. Okay, and I'm going to ask, Tanya, just to play the sentence, however it plays. So here's the sentence. Right? We all have a yearning to discern the patterns that connect. Right, can you feel that sentence? Right, you don't need your mind to understand it. Just like feel it, right? Like we all have a yearning to discern the patterns that connect. Right, what's the big picture? Where are we going? What's it about? Not in the way of dogma. Right? Not in the way that someone said, this is what it is, these are the 3 things you do, if you don't, you're fucked. Right? Or worse. Not that. That's dogma. This is Dharma. It means you can validate it, you can access it, you can see it. When you hear it, you know it's truth. And it's the shared understanding of the great mystics through every generation from 5,000 years ago till yesterday. That's what we want to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about Dharma. And we're going to kind of just lay down some Dharma, and we'll just do some practices and see what emerges. Is that a plan? Mm-hmm. We're good? So play that for us. Okay.
With love.
Just breathe it. Just, no. Breathe it in. All right, just breathe it in. Just take that, just take it and just breathe it in. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Tanya. Thank you. So that's the feeling of the yearning for the patterns that connect. And just feel what happens when you put a sentence, a dharma, to the music voice. That's the feeling of the yearning for the patterns that connect. And before we go to the next step, I just want to ask one last question. You know, as you're kind of just sitting, and you can just do it with your eyes shut or with your eyes open, but just a show of hands, right? How many people in this room have ever made love? Just show of hands. Okay. One more question. How many people have ever made love more than once? Or just once? Twice? Pretty much everyone's gone twice. Okay. Okay, I'm just checking. Okay, so why do you go twice? Like, we've done that already. Right? So I'm going to kind of touch on some strands of Dharma that some of us began to talk about at Actualize. Okay? And I want to just watch that little kind of moment of contraction. We said, didn't we talk about that? We're going to make love. Right? Twice, 3 times, 4 times. Right? Right? You feel that? We'll just kind of go in. Okay. So let's begin. Here's the principle. Principle's simple, powerful, elegant, painful. We live in a world of outrageous pain. The only response to outrageous pain is outrageous love. That's the core of the Dharma. Right? We live in a world of outrageous pain. The only response to a world of outrageous pain is outrageous love, right? The path of the outrageous lover. So we're going to have to talk about, what does pain mean? What does love mean? And what does outrageous mean? Okay? Those are our topics. Okay, so let's start with love. Let's start with love. Right? So there are 9 dharmas of love. And we're just going to touch them. 9 dharmas of love. There are 3 holy trinities, and we're going to practice them. We're going to practice. We're going to find ways to practice them. You know, in this time we have together. It's kind of the 9 dharmas of love. So here's the first one. Right? Love always has 3 stations. Before we even talk about what it is, right? What it is, we're going to skip that for a second. How it works, how it plays, we'll skip that. We just know it always comes in 3s. She always comes in 3s. Right? Love's always doing a threesome. Okay, that's not a recommendation, right, in enactment. Just kind of saying, right, kind of in the Dharma, that's how it goes. Right? She always comes in 3s. There's always level 1, level 2, and level 3, and she never skips. It always happens that way. It never doesn't happen that way. If it doesn't happen that way, right, you're probably undergoing some mild form of psychosis, which is fine, and seek treatment, and you can work with it, right? Right? But it always comes in 3s, always, no exceptions. And what are the 3s? And it's so great to know it, because then as you begin to chart life, it kind of feels different. So level 1 of love is always falling in love. Falling in love. Falling in love with an idea. You hear an idea, it's like, wow. It's like awesome. You fall in love with a color, right? You fall in love with a new kind of food, right? With a new methodology, with a neighborhood, right? With the ocean, right? Like, wow. Like you fall in love with the ocean, it's like awesome. Right? I live kind of about 10 feet from the ocean in Carmel. And I kind of get up in the morning like, ah, right? You're just in love. Just wake, you just fall in love with the ocean. It's like, wow. You fall in love with a person. Like blowing out of your mind, right? You want to kind of write my application for my interview, you know, kind of on Monday morning, but who can do that, right? Because my mind is someplace, and my heart's someplace, my body's someplace. I'm completely entranced. I'm completely invited in, right? That's falling in love. And in all the books of love, about, I don't know, a decade ago, I kind of looked at like 50 books on love. So I was kind of doing a little writing thing. And almost every book said, you know, love starts when you fall out of love. It's like the mature human potential thing to say. That's just this thing happening. But love, the real love, starts when you do the work when you fall out of love. No. 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 Right? Level 1 is fall in love. Just like complete, your eyes open, you're just blown away by the dazzling beauty. And the tragedy of our lives is that we do it so little. Right? Our love lists are so short. Right? We fall in love with 1, 2, my dog, my partner, usually not my mother, you know, maybe like for a guy, like a great new stereo, you know what I mean? You know, like, but it's like we're really limited. We got really limited love lists, right? Right? So like wow, right? Like, and who falls in love all the time? People like Rumi. Rumi, like he's like wild, right? Here he is, like by Wendy's bed. This is the only thing I took by your bed. Don't worry. Okay.
You were free to
There were a couple of.
to anything.
You sure? So the illuminated Rumi, okay? And why is he awake? Why is he enlightened? He's like, 'cause he's a lover. What's Rumi about? This is not a guy who fell in love just with his cat and his partner, right? This guy who's like in love. He's like awake. He's ecstatic. He's falling in love all the time. So that's level one. We're going to practice that in about 6, 7, 8 minutes. Okay, but first just feel that level one. It's our love lists are too short. Right? We can actually fall in love again and again and again. Now, falling in love doesn't mean, you know, I get a U-Haul and move in. Right? The old lesbian joke. Right? Right? Not, doesn't mean that. But it doesn't mean romance. It doesn't mean sexing. It means falling in love. Right? And if I actually only fall in love with one human, it won't work. So here's like a guaranteed dharmic promise. If you fall in love with one person, it won't work. The relationship will crash, for sure, without exception. Why? Because one person can't hold all of your ecstasy. Right? If all of your love goes into that person has to meet everything you want from the world, and they have to be all beauty in the world has to be contained in only that person. You can't fall in love with the ocean. You can't fall in love with the flower. You can't fall in love with your mailman. Right? You can't fall in love with, right? There's so many people to fall in love with in the world. Right? So the more you actually can fall in love, the more you can then also pick a person, this is the person I'm going to walk through life with. Wow. That's a big deal. This is the person we're going to fall in love together with the world. Right? See, in kind of the Western kind of world, right, falling in love is two people looking deeply in each other's eyes. Like, wow. Right? That's a great place to start. But if through that other person's eyes you don't go through and catch the whole vista and the whole horizon, then you're going to ask that one person to hold everything for you, and it'll crash under a burden it can't bear. So to fall in love, right, is to know, oh my God, you're beautiful. You're gorgeous. That's level one. Falling in love, and our love lists are too short. And if we were doing like a full day seminar, we'd kind of do a little exercise, and we'd have everyone list who are the people that you're in love with. People of 1, 2, 3, right? Maybe 7 people. 9 on a good day, right? 9.5, right? My aunt, I'm not quite sure, right? 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 But actually, right, really my love lists are endless. And we're going to talk more about it, but just to feel that for a second, okay? To feel like, you don't feel that? That's the first, that's level one. I'm not going to get to level 2 yet. I'm going to give you level 1. I'm going to give you now principle 1, because they go together. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got level now, principle 1. Here's principle 1. Principle 1 is, love is a feeling, right? Love's this great feeling, right? There's so many songs about love being a feeling, but it's not. Love's not a feeling. If you think love is a feeling, you are, as the great Talmudic master said in Aramaic, fucked. Right? You're gone, you're dead. Love is not a feeling. Now there's a feeling that's associated with it, but it's not a feeling. And if love is a feeling, it comes and it goes. It's emotion, it's energy and motion. Love, in the great traditions, pre-modern, modern, postmodern, the best take we have on the world, love is a perception. It's a huge shift. It's not an emotion, it's a perception. I think I mentioned some of us were together when I spent like a day hanging out with the Dalai Lama. What he got most ecstatic about was that sentence. Right? Love is a perception. He kind of dancing around, beautiful, when he does it, beautiful, beautiful, right? All right, so all right. Love is a perception. Love is a perception means that love is a capacity to see. Right? Love is to have eyes to see. Right? Love is to perceive the infinite specialness, gorgeousness in other beyond me, and to utterly, radically delight in it. And if it's a perception, it means I can cleanse the doors of perception and become a better lover. If it's a perception, we're sitting together right here, and we're together in 3 years, we look at the love we have now, that was nothing. Because the perception's infinite. And it gets deeper, and if it's a feeling, it goes. Feeling, gone. Right? It's a perception, and the feeling comes from the perception. I keep looking deeper and deeper and deeper, because perception is perception of infinity, of the infinite, unique gorgeousness that lives in other. Okay? Which means that any one of us can be Rumi. And any one of us can fall madly in love with any person in this room. That's the test of enlightenment. To be enlightened, to be awakened, is to say, it's not Rumi's gig. I like the poetry. It's cool. But I'm Rumi. I'm Hafiz. I'm Kabir. And I'm Tagore. I'm Luria. I'm Bar Yochai. It's me. That's what we talked about when we talked about the democratization, right, of enlightenment. So to be awake is to be a lover. To be a lover is to fall in love. Level one. That's level one. Principle one, right? Love is a perception. It's a perception. The emotion emerges from the perception, but to be a lover is to have eyes to see. Is there anyone in the room who's a parent? Any parents? There's one, two, me too. Right? So how many? It's like a bunch of us, right? So, what's your kid's name?
Nora.
Nora, yeah. Do your neighbors have kids also?
Yeah.
Do you notice how obnoxious they are? But Nora's awesome, right? So he knows what I'm talking about, right? Right? We know that. We all know that. Like, kids are just obnoxious, guy. But Nora, oh my God, Nora rocks. I mean, she is the bedazzled jewel of God's crown, right? Right? And he's right. She is, right? Right? Exactly. You should hear what the neighbors say about her. But anyways, right? But you're right, because when I look at my kid, right? I look at my kid, I have eyes to see. I'm invested in my kid. Since I'm invested, I kind of focus. I have perception, and I see her dazzling beauty. She's gorgeous. And even if she's got a couple of issues, because everybody's got a couple of issues, right? That's not who she really is. Who she really is, so love's not just a perception, stay with me, it's a perception identification complex. I perceive her infinite, gorgeous, dazzling, shimmering beauty, and I identify her with that. That's her essence. Yeah, so she killed the cat, big deal. Right? She didn't, I'm sorry. Right, but you see what I mean? Like, whatever like the side issues are, like whatever, she'll work that out, You know, my little kid Bugsy Siegel killed a few people, but he's beautiful. Right, you get it? And the parent's right. The parent's actually right. To be a lover is to have eyes to see. And I'm madly in love with my kid, and I actually identify my kid with their infinite gorgeousness. And I look at my kid and I say, I'm going to give you kind of a koan phrase, a little foreign language for a second from the original Hebrew. Hinach yafa rayati. Hinach yafa. Behold, you're beautiful, beloved. Behold, you're beautiful. And so we're just going to do a practice first, just kind of together. And then we're going to kind of break into dyads. And we're going to just create kind of just a couple of circles. And we're just going to fall in love with each other. That's the whole practice. Okay? Right? Right? We're just going to fall in love with each other. We're just going to fall in love. Now, the way we do it is you access that capacity to be Rumi. So you don't just have Rumi by your bedside, right? But Rumi, you are Rumi. That's democratization of enlightenment. That's what he's able to do. Rumi could walk into this room and fall madly in love. So can I, so can you. Right? With every single person in the room. Now that doesn't mean you go home with a different person that you came with. Right? Right? Whatever you want, but hey, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about fall in love. Me and this guy are going to fall in love. We fell in love the first time he was in the front row. And we gave each other a hug. Yeah, that moment we fell in love. It was right there. Yeah, awesome. That's what it's about. Okay? So I just gave you the song for about a second before, but we're going to model it. Okay? So we're going to model it like we barely know each other. Right? We met once, you just joined our private study, so we've studied maybe once together. Okay? So we're just going to sing it to each other. Okay? You want to get up a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. So we're just going to fall in love. Okay? We're just going to model how it works. And we just learned the song about 3 minutes ago. So there's no way you could remember it, but we'll try anyways, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe step right over there, right there. Perfect. Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Mark.
I'm Tanya.
Yo. Hinach yafa rayati. Hinach yafa. 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 Are you in love?
I'm in love.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Hitch, you want to try it with me? Okay. Right? Yo. Now remember, it's not about, it's about just like that. Okay? And you can either use the words or just use the chant, whatever you want, okay? Hinach yafa rayati. Hinach yafa. Hinach yafa rayati. Hinach yafa. Help him, everyone. Hinach yafa rayati. Hinach yafa. 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 Are you in love?
I'm in love.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm in love too.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're just going to start the chant, and I'm going to ask everyone to hold a silence of presence, meaning try like there's this little moment you just want to say something to the person next to you. And where that comes from is you want to kind of hold your space. Okay, so I want to ask you just to trust the room and surrender your space. Right? Not your integrity, not your autonomy. Right? The only guru in the room is you. Okay? But surrender the space and let's create it together. Okay? So I'm going to start. I'm going to ask everyone to kind of, as you feel moved, find the person next to you. Do it for a couple times until you really just feel the love moving, and then switch partners. And just kind of move around the room in a kind of self-organized, autopoiesis way. And make sure along the way, remember that's our kind of major theme, to fall in love with Brian's hat. Let me just grab that over. Hinach yafa rayati. Hinach yafa. 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 And bow to your lover and switch. Mwah, love you.
Love you.
Yeah, love you. Total. Right? Yeah. Wow. Silence of presence as you switch. Hinach yafa rayati. Hinach yafa. 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 Oh my God, bow, I love you. Oh my God. We'll just keep the chant going as we switch. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati. Hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, whoa, hinach yafa, yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. Behold, you are beautiful, beloved. Behold, behold, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. Go one step deeper in. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. Hey. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. And switch. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa, hey, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hey, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. Last partner. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati. Hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, beloved. Now so quietly, holy silence of presence, whispering it. Hinach yafa rayati. Dean. Hinach yafa, it's you and me, cameraman, holy man. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. And now for everyone not in the room who has never heard this before, for everyone not in the room who's got a broken heart, ready? Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. All of San Francisco. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, 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 hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. And just in the holy silence of presence, just breathe it in and hug it in with someone. Find somebody, just kind of hug it in 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Yeah, yeah. Nora's dad. Mm. 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 Inach yafa rayati, inach yafa. Kind of find our way back to seats. Inach yafa rayati, inach yafa, inach yafa rayati, inach yafa. Take it inside. Inach yafa rayati. Hinach yafa, hold holy silence of presence as we sing. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. T-Bird, take it into the song. You know, there's 3 kinds of friends. There's one kind of friend, like no matter what you do, you're up, you're down, you're beautiful, you're not, they're with you. They're friends. It's awesome, right? Like, wow. That's like the first level friend. Second level friend is when you're with that person, you feel totally called to be what you could be. They just call you, right? Just that relationship, that love calls you to be something so much more than you are now. But the third kind of friend, when you're with them, you're already there. You're already there. You just show up, you're there. Right? It's like, wow. When that friend sees you, Hinach yafarayati. Behold, you're beautiful, beloved. Behold, behold. Right? So love's a perception of what? Of what? Of the infinite specialness? We got to go deeper into that. We got to introduce some new principles of loving. So far we know level 1 love, falling in love. It's first level. Principle 1, love is a perception. Now we're going to do 3. Right? What's love a perception of? What am I seeing? Okay? So Rumi, who's awesome, you know, and my friend Coleman actually. Yo. My friend Coleman, who's just a wonderful man, translated this, right? It's a kind of wonderful book, and Coleman and I have had the privilege of getting drunk together, right, on a long, long night after teaching, and spending till about 5 in the morning just telling Sufi and Kabbalistic stories, right, with cup after cup of wine. The bad news was that went till about 4 or 5 in the morning, and the next program started at 7. But there you have it. Yeah.
It was a good program.
It was a great program. It was awesome. Yeah. So let's talk about Rumi, and let's talk about what we mean by enlightenment. Because you can't really talk about love without talking about enlightenment. Enlightenment and love are totally connected. Okay? So, it used to be that there was a very small group of people who controlled everything that happened in the world. That sentence makes sense to everyone? Whether you're a historian, whether that's just true. A small group of people controlled the government, controlled the press, controlled religion, controlled ideas. And actually most of the world was in abject suffering. And a very, very small group of people were living kind of lives of a different nature. And then this idea came along called democracy. And we introduced the notion of the democratization of governance. It's a wild idea, right? That actually people should participate in government. And that idea didn't exist 1,000 years ago. Didn't exist. No one thought of it. Anyone who would have mentioned it would have been thought insane. But something happened. We realized that people can participate in their self-governance in some significant way, and democracy sweeps the world. You got to just get how big that is. 120 years ago, women didn't vote any place in the world. Like, really? It's like, really? 150 years ago, there were lots of slaves in the world in the Western democracies. Today, there's lots of slaves in the world that the Western democracies profit from. There are 17 million slaves in the world today, more than there were at the height of the slave trade. But the Western democracies have at least outlawed, and at least there's a calling to a different world. Okay? So we're talking about democratization. Democratization means that no one's left behind. That's what it means. Democratization means that everyone's got a story, and that story matters. That story is significant. That person has dignity and value and adequacy. And they get to participate, right, in determining the fate of nations, determining their own fate. It means that every person can participate in power, that power is distributed. It's democratization. Democracy is a big idea. Democracy is the sexiest, most erotic idea that's ever swept through the world in the last 1,000 years. It's the single most erotic current, right, of eros, kind of moving through. So we want to introduce a new facet of democracy, which I like to call the democratization of enlightenment. And what does that mean? It's got a lot of play for all of us in this room. So here we go. Okay? Let's play for a second. So what's enlightenment? What does that mean? What's the word mean? It's a funny word, right? Enlightenment. What's enlightenment mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? What is it? Just give me throw something at me. Enlightenment. Yeah. Anyone? Any kind of go for it.
Oh, I was just holding the mic up.
Okay, good. Take it away. Wendy.
My experience of enlightenment
Yeah.
is a confidence that anything I do or say is a function of God and there is no right or wrong.
Right. Well, that sounds like, okay, nihilistic narcissism. Okay?
No.
Right? Right? But you see the complexity in it, right? Right? Did everyone hear that, right? I mean, it sounds great. Like, No, but it's awesome. You're awesome, right? Like, no right and wrong, and everything I do is God. Ooh, that's scary, right? Right? You see the complexity, right? Everyone gets that's why we laugh. It's like, well, yeah, but no, but that's kind of crazy, right? Like, Manson kind of thought that, right? Right? Like, right? Right, it was a mistake. Right. But of course, sister, but we're both in this together, right? We both kind of see wow, what does it really mean? What's my real experience? What's my real experience? Right? Day to day, what's my real experience? Right? No right and wrong? Well, we can't live without right and wrong. Right? But of course, you're pointing to something. Of course. But we can't live without right and wrong. Right? Am I God? Well, maybe. Right? How do you feel like, kind of contracted day, you're feeling kind of shitty, mad at someone? Oh, that's God. Really? Right? That's frightening, right? Right? So we kind of use, right, and we kind of very beautifully. I mean, I can't think of a more really beautiful, elegant offering. And anyone in the room would have said the same thing. You just happen to be the one brave person who spoke for the whole room. Right? So let's give her a big hand. Let's give her a big hand. Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, but we run into some trouble here with kind of understanding what is enlightenment. Right? I'm God? Well, maybe. Right? There's 6 billion gods? Could be. What does that mean? Right? And Thucydides, in one of the great books, Peloponnesian Wars, he said, when words lose their meaning, culture collapses. Right? When words lose their meaning, culture collapses. We don't know what love means anymore. Love's an emotion. No, it's a perception. Something shifts. Enlightenment, what does it mean? What does it mean? And what do we mean when we talk about the democratization of enlightenment? So let's say we say there's no right and wrong, right? I'm God. Well, Rumi spent his life teaching about right and wrong. He was actually a Dharma teacher. He was actually a religious Muslim, but an entire set of structures of right and wrong, right? And, right, he had a really complex relationship to God, but he actually thought that God was holding him. He didn't think he was God. He wanted to fall into the arms of the beloved. So what does enlightenment mean? Let's just kind of find it for a second. We're going to find it. We're going to find it in a couple, and we're going to kind of look for it. What does it mean to democratize enlightenment? What does it mean that each of us in the room can actually access a genuine, first-person, sustained experience of enlightenment, which is the change that changes everything. And actually, by accessing that experience, I can actually shift, right, in a dramatic and powerful way, everything that's happening in my life, its trajectory, its quality, its nature, its power, its awakeness, and its success, right, its effectiveness. So what's enlightenment? Okay, so someone else. Let's have another brave person. Take it away.
Well, I was thinking maybe just to tag off of what Wendy was saying is that everything is right. Like this moment, whatever is happening here is right.
Yeah.
And it might feel wrong in the moment, but opening up to the
There I am.
possibility like
The
this.
Sandy Hook
this
High
is
School, they're shooting away. Right, that's right, it's good. Really? I must just stay with it. I just want the words to mean something to you, okay? And again, the nice guy's going to come back in a couple minutes, I promise, okay? Right, but just stay with me for a second, okay? Just check out the words. It's hard, right? Everything, right? Not there's no right and wrong, but let's tag off of Wendy, which is completely lovely of you to be supportive and brave after I decimated that. That's like I can't believe the guy just made that move. Like, really? but you're awesome. You're awesome.
But in a way, yeah, like that. That is. It's not that it's right versus right and wrong, but like that does happen.
Right. So you're kind of. I got you. So you're walking in, right? Like you're about to get shot for something you didn't do. You're being tortured, right? Torture's not fun. Okay. And you say that's really right. Maybe.
Well, I mean, there's
A couple of exceptions.
like just like I mean, one of the biggest fears that I have is like I'm going to die.
Yeah, that's true.
And getting right with that and being like, wow,
So
will
watch for a second. Let's play for a second, you and me, okay?
Okay.
Right, awesome. Just total love, like hinach yafa ra'ati, hinach yafa. Totally, we're madly in love with each other. Let's play as lovers, okay? So here's the thing, right? Most of in this room, we just kind of look around, are kind of, middle class, upper middle class. Most people in this room are not worried about having something to eat tonight or tomorrow morning. Is that fair? Yeah. Right, so we're kind of right? We're kind of living our lives. And we kind of extend from our lives here in kind of the Bay Area to the rest of the world. But the rest of the world's kind of fucked. Just saying, right? I mean, 70% of the world lives under a totalitarian, ethnocentric religion, right? 20 million children starved last year. 17 million sexual slaves in the world, right? Dozens of wars, right? Secret police all over the place. It's bad news, 20 million men roaming in bands in China because there's not women available. It's like, whoa, right? Rwanda's happening every few years, where 800,000 people are killed in 100 days while the world's kind of too busy to watch unless it's an election issue. I mean, the world's hard. We live in a world of outrageous pain. Outrageous pain. And you have the luxury of a beautiful issue. Great guy, nice looking, smart, right, intelligent, clearly. But you got to work out that you're going to die. All right. Good luck with that. I'm with you. But let's expand. All right, let's expand. We live in a world of outrageous pain. So what does enlightenment mean? In a world of outrageous pain, what does enlightenment mean? Okay? We're going to work with it, okay? Fair?
Right. Yeah.
Fair, yeah, cool. Anyone else in the room want to tag off of Wendy? Go, sister. Give me remind me of your first name. Jim, right. Jim. Okay. Jim, you owe me a phone call. Okay, yeah. By the way, I know. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was okay. Yo.
So I don't think this is a complete definition.
Name. Give me a name.
Oh, it's Julia.
Hi, Julia.
Awareness.
Awareness.
That's one word.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see, now when people say that, I never know what they mean, right? But you're ahead of me. I mean, just like awareness. What does that mean?
So, I guess another word would be consciousness, but you're probably going to say, what does that mean?
I don't know what that means either.
Right,
You're right.
okay.
Right.
Okay.
You and I are we're getting together here. We're
Yeah.
good.
So, if you zoom up, I don't agree that everything is right.
Right.
I agree that there's good and evil in the world.
Yeah.
But if you zoom up, metaphorically, right?
I'm trying to help. Right. Everyone try to help for a second. Right? Let's try to go. There we go.
You can see the patterns.
There are patterns.
Right. So you can draw some conclusions. So enlightenment is seeing the patterns. It's
Awareness of
the
patterns. So if I'm a systems scientist, right, studying sociology and kind of patterns in history, I'm enlightened.
You are probably playing with enlightenment, yeah.
You're playing with enlightenment. Right, kind of self-pleasuring kind of thing.
Yeah, like
Right.
Mental masturbation.
Right, okay. But you see the problem, and as we all know, that a kind of systems scientist that knows patterns is not necessarily enlightened. And even though they might know a lot of patterns, but actually the first thing we think of when we say enlightenment is not systems scientist. You know what I mean?
Well, I think you feel the patterns, like
So you
Oprah
feel
says in
the
your
patterns?
bones.
Oh,
Yeah,
so-
I think you have moments of it. I think
Oh,
in
so let me
like
go slow. I'm really just, I gotta go slow with me. I'm really
Okay.
slow, okay? So you don't know the patterns, you feel the patterns in
no,
your
you
bones.
can also know them. They're not mutually exclusive.
You can feel them and know them.
Yeah, I mean, if you're lucky, you know them more of the time. Well, I think it's more difficult to feel them.
More difficult to feel them, but you
Uh-huh.
can feel them and know them at the same time, and they're in your bones.
That's correct.
Good, we're good. But you see the problem? Right now, that's right.
I think
Well,
this is an awesome definition. Though.
right. Well, I'll tell you, it's awesome. I think it sucks. Let me tell you why. Right? Because knowing a pattern doesn't make me enlightened.
What
Just
about
means
feeling it in your bones?
feeling in your bones doesn't make you enlightened, right? Because actually, either you know the pattern or you don't. Right? A pattern's not something right? Now, you can intuit, right? Knowledge that brings you. But what I'm trying to say is, now follow me closely. Words need to matter. That's what I'm saying. We throw words around. Right? But actually, you wouldn't stake your life in that definition. If you would, you're crazy. Okay? Right? Because actually, words matter. We got to use them carefully. What does awareness mean? What does consciousness mean? Enlightenment is knowing patterns. Maybe, right? But is it? Lots of people know patterns. You can feel them, know them. Does that make a person enlightened? Not at all clear. Right? Did Rumi know patterns? He actually didn't know a lot about patterns. Right? He wasn't good at patterns for lots of reasons. Rumi was good at something else. So let's just kind of play with it. What I'm just trying to point to really gently and lovingly is we use a lot of words. Right? And they don't mean so much. And because they don't mean a lot, they don't change us. They don't transform us. They don't enter us. They don't demand. They don't ravish us. Right? So I want to go really simple, okay? So stay with me, okay? Right? Total good. Julia?
Yes.
We still friends?
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Okay,
I
I'm
still
just-
think my definition is really awesome.
Okay, that's okay. You could work out in therapy holding on to outmoded ideas, right? It's totally fine. It's totally fine. You work that. That's good, sister. You work that. Okay, that's good. Okay, work that. We're good.
I'm trying to evolve to come up with a better definition.
Rock on, sister. Rock on. So here we go. Okay? So I'm going to offer just a really simple definition, and I'm going to defend it. Okay? Here we go. Ready? Enlightenment is sanity. Enlightenment is sanity. That's what enlightenment is. No question about it, and I'll prove it to you really simply. Not prove it, I'll show it to you. Enlightenment is sanity. Now, if enlightenment is sanity, whatever that means, what that means is that everyone needs to be sane. Right, you see that? Right, if enlightenment is sanity, then enlightenment can't be for the elite. Right, because sanity is not for the elite. Sanity is a core requirement of every human being to be sane. That's what enlightenment is. It's not less than sanity. It's not more than sanity. Which is why it feels, when you're enlightened, you know what it feels like? Ordinary. That's why all the greats, it feels ordinary. Right? You know, you're kind of like, whoa, that's enlightenment? Ordinary. Right? But it changes everything. Okay, so step 2. What's sanity? What does it mean to be sane? Okay? What does it mean to be sane? Let's just check out for a second. So let's say I say that I am Tanya. No, really. I actually haven't told you guys this before. This is kind of like a big thing. And we're kind of working on the shift. But actually, I look like Mark Goffney, but we're kind of doing a kind of shift, transmutation. Right? And I am Tanya, how to put Ridgely? Is that how I pronounce it? I'm Tanya Ridgely. No, really. No, really. I want to get a little serious about this. Like, you guys, I'm actually not joking. Don't look at me like that. Okay? I am Tanya Ridgely. I am. Okay? So I could say it like 3 times, 4 times. But if you actually thought to believe, and you began to think that I actually believed that, you'd say he's crazy. He's utterly insane. The man's crazy. He thinks he's Tanya. That's just not true. He's not Tanya. Right? Enlightenment, not enlightenment. Right? He's not Tanya. He's Mark. So that mistaken identity is insanity. That's what insanity means. Insanity means I think I'm Julia. I'm not. I'm not Julia. Right? She's Julia. I'm Mark. Tanya. Brian. Jennifer. Dean, right? Jim, right? Wendy, Leslie, right? We go through the room, okay? Dr. H, right? Right? Like, yo, right? Kind of. So we're good, okay? So, and if I have a mistake in my identity, okay, now stay with me, you know, holy lovers. This is big. It means I'm crazy. It's a mistake in my identity. I'm gone. Now here's the basic claim. 10 seconds, flip it at you, okay? Right? The basic knowing of enlightenment, right, is the realization that the experience of me being a separate self, an ego self, which is separate from other, separate from source, right, separate from all of reality, is a case of dramatic mistaken identity. And the mistaken identity between Mark and Brian, 2 guys, roughly the same age, he's a little better looking, but basically, right, not a big mistake. But if I actually believe that I'm a separate self, and I don't realize that actually I am part of the seamless code of the universe, that I'm part of true self, that the total number of true selves in the world is 1, and I don't actually know that as an awakened first-person experience, where I actually realize that I am an indivisible, inseparable, inexorable from the larger code of the universe, that there's nothing separate about me in any ultimate sense, if I don't actually have a lived, awakened first-person experience of that, I'm insane. And insanity is the belief that I am but a skin-encapsulated ego. That's what it means to be insane. It means I've got this little brain neurosystem kind of happening in me. I got this immune system, and I'm kind of, this is what I am. I'm a skin, that's who I am. That's insane. That's insane. Okay? Now that's a big deal, because what it means is that normal consciousness is insane. That's Dharma. Okay, that's Dharma. Normal consciousness is insane. So you walk around San Francisco, you've got normal consciousness. Normal consciousness is insane. How do I know? Well, it killed 20 million people last year. That's insane. Right? A world which can feed 20 million children 4 times over, but doesn't distribute it because of the consciousness of separate self? That's insane. That's utterly, totally, wildly, radically insane. Normal consciousness produces dukkha, suffering. Because normal consciousness is the consciousness that I am merely a separate self and I'm ultimately disconnected. I'm a monad. I'm ultimately alienated from the rest of reality. We can love each other, we can make covenants, we can make contracts with each other, we can do win-win deals, we can take marketing seminars, but basically, I'm a separate self. The best I can do is try and create some comfort and a little love, a little cuddling, a little spooning along the way, okay? Right? To kind of make it a little easier to get through life. But that's the consciousness of separate self that 99.999% of the world lives with. Enlightenment is sanity. And sanity is to know that's not true. It's to actually do actual experimental practices where I have an awakened first-person realization that I'm not separate self, I'm true self. And the total number of true selves in the world is 1. Okay? Let's start there. Let's stop for a second. Go ahead. You're gonna...
Oh, no, just
Yeah.
going for 1.
Yeah, 1. Yeah, take it away, brother.
I hear you talking about the democratization of enlightenment, yet you're also saying that 99% of the world is insane. So
Right, because we haven't democratized it yet.
Okay.
Exactly. We're exactly where we were 1,000 years ago in terms of governance. What we have to do in this room, this is us. We're the leading edge. We have to actually democratize enlightenment, but the first problem is no one knows what enlightenment means. Does everyone get it? Right, what is it? See, everyone's got 1,000 definitions. Right? You try and sell enlightenment in the world, that's no right and wrong. That's going to get you far. Right? You follow what I'm saying, sister? Totally love you. Sorry, right? Everything's right. Right? I see the patterns. Yo, that's not going to change reality. We're here to change reality. We're the leading edge of the leading edge. We're the people who can do it. First, what does it mean? Enlightenment is sanity. It's sanity. It's to be sane. It's to know the inner nature of my identity. And not to know it because somebody told it to me. To know it, I can actually feel it in first person. I can actually have an awakened first person experience, which actually makes me know that I'm not merely a separate self. And I can have it in radical sexing. I can have it in radical naturing. I can have it in radical meditation. I can have it in radical chant. Right? I can have it in radical Dharma. Right? I have it hinachya farayati, where I kind of begin to realize that I'm not a separate self. I'm actually part of this larger field, and I can actually access in first person, right, that larger field. Right? Wow. Tattvamasi. Thou art that. Like, wow. Okay? Right? Stay with it. Stay with it, sister. Don't whisper to him. Right? 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 Stay with me for a second, okay? Right? Just kind of just stay like, and just go boom. Right? Enlightenment is sanity. Right? There it is. Enlightenment is sanity. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's nothing else to be sane. Okay, now stay with me. We're going to go kind of like wild, super crazy deep. Okay? Right? So next like 6 minutes. Okay, we're going to go like wild crazy. Wild crazy. Here we go. So if enlightenment is sanity, and if through enlightenment you actually get this actual experience of being part of the seamless code of the universe, and what actually moves through you is not only your limited ability and your limited talent and your limited capacity and your limited power and your limited love, but actually when you actually realize that you're part of the seamless code of the universe, you're connected to everything, and it's all moving through you, and you're awake and alive, well, why is 99% of the world not interested? Bad marketing. Eben, where are you? Right? 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 And is that the problem? I don't think so. And if you ask 99.9% of enlightenment teachers, they'll tell you that the reason people don't go for enlightenment is because the ego gets in the way. Because they don't want to give up their ego. Right? They're lying. They're lying. It's between us. I mean, really? It's just always the people's fault? Right? I mean, really? You know, like enlightenment's this awesome thing. No one's doing it because the ego's in the way. Really? I mean, really? And that's just pathetic. Right? I mean, the ego does get in the way. But that's not the problem. The problem is the teaching is bad. So let's go deeper. Okay? Why would a person not want to be enlightened? Right? Let's be really honest for a second, okay? Just like us here. Just like we're not recording it. Well, that's a lie. Okay, but you know, it's not going to go viral tomorrow, okay? Right? right? So like, let's be just total just us together, okay? Like, why would you not, I mean, when you hear this description of enlightenment, what in you says, no thank you?
It's terrifying, and it would require a lot of behavioral changes.
Yeah, first off, it's fucking terrifying, right? I don't want to give up old shit, right? And what's the old stuff? It's terrifying, beautiful, right? Julia, what else?
I think I would be feeling very alone and isolated if I was the 0.1%.
Well, first off, like, if everyone's insane, let me just be insane with them.
Yeah, let me
okay,
just be insane
I
with
got
them.
it. But what? Good. But what? There's something inside. If you're really honest, you kind of find inside. There's something that says, like, no. Yeah, go.
For me, it's not wanting to feel all the pain that you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, first off, I don't want to plug into that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let me kind of live.
Separate's kind of cool.
Right. Separate's kind of cool. A little protected.
Right.
Okay, good. So I don't want to feel that. Right? I can feel the love pouring through me, but I'm going to feel like the infinite pain of the universe. Okay. So great. That's one stop. What else?
There's also, I think there would be a sense of aloneness.
Aloneness, or stay with it. Right? What do you have to give up to get this enlightenment thing?
You would have to give up your identity.
Special identity. So, right, go ahead. Special identity. What else? All in that direction. Self. Me. What's the problem? The problem's really big. Okay? It's a really fucking big problem. Right? I don't want to give up me. I like me. Right? Right? Old moccasins, I like them. Okay? Like, I like my shoes. Right? You guys like my shoes? Okay, good. Right? Like, yo. Right? It's like a big deal. Right? Like, I got to give up myself. I got to give. Who said the word special?
Yeah.
Right? Special. Right? What's your first name?
Shane.
Shame?
Shane.
Shane. So I'm just working. Just working here. Okay? I mean, Shane, do you think you're special? Do you think you're special?
Yeah.
Yeah, so do I. Do you want to give that up?
No.
No. How many people in this room want to give up being special? There's one. Okay, two. Are there any therapists in the room? Work with them afterwards, okay? Right. Work with yours, right? So, but you follow? Like, in other words, the demand of enlightenment is, and then you come to your enlightenment teacher and you say, and all my friends are enlightenment teachers, so I kind of know about this a little bit, okay? Right? And you say, I still feel special. And they say, sit on the mat, meditate a little more. Right? But then, of course, they're feeling really special when they tell you, right? Yeah. Right? So it's like this huge problem that actually this huge teaching of enlightenment is, here it is, move beyond your separate self and become true self. That's the great breakthrough of enlightenment. The problem is, you don't really want to do that. Either, as Brian says, a little more protected here in separate self, or I don't want to give up being me. I don't want to give up my story. Right? I don't want to give up my specialness. I don't want to give up this whole thing that's here. And this is the great, huge mistake in enlightenment teaching. And now I want to really just do something which everyone tells me never to do, but I'm going to do it anyways. Right? And I'm going to do it because just out of just like radical respect for you. Okay, so like there's going to be no bullshit, no holds barred, no easy 101, no clever marketing where I'm going to give you like the real thing. Okay, so here it is. Okay, and you got to just, as your head kind of goes, just stay with it, and I promise you'll get it. Okay, this is a super, super beautiful room of like radical love and radically beautiful awakened mind. Okay, so no one's going to be left behind. Okay, so just relax as it comes at you. Here it is. The word enlightenment, where does it appear in the world? Where have you heard it before? Where does it appear? So when we talk about enlightenment, it's like the Eastern, Buddhist, Hindu enlightenment, right? Cool? Yes, so far so good? Where else do you hear it? Say it again?
The Age of Enlightenment. Like that.
Good. The Age of, what's your first name? Casey. You know her? She's smart. Stick around with her, okay? Right? Casey, the Age of Enlightenment, which is kind of like, Voltaire, Rousseau, kind of that Age of Enlightenment, kind of the Western Enlightenment. Everyone with me so far? So there's the Western Enlightenment, and there's the Eastern Enlightenment. Isn't that interesting? There's two enlightenments. Western, that's it. See that there? Western Enlightenment, Eastern Enlightenment. Now, what does the Western Enlightenment basically say? This is just so wild that it's so like kind of mind-boggling. It's kind of looking at, at a Dali painting. You need to be on psychedelics to kind of really get this, but I'll just kind of give it to you, and next time just remember. Okay, here we go. Okay, right? This is kind of wild. Okay, right? So Western Enlightenment, what does it believe in? What's a basic belief?
The self.
The self, right? Not only the self, as Shane says completely correctly, the separate self. But that actually dignity, autonomy, human rights come from the infinite dignity of the separate self. And the Western Enlightenment that every single person in this room was raised on, that's in your bones, right? As Julia talked about, it's in your bones. You can feel the Western Enlightenment in your bones, is you are a separate self, and anyone who tells you you're not is a bad person. And the Western Enlightenment's pretty right. Because the people who were telling you you're not were kings, right, and larger systems that said, you only have value through me. And along comes the Western Enlightenment and says, no, I don't think so. You have value because here you are. You have infinite dignity, adequacy as a separate self. So all dignity, all goodness, all virtue, all love is based on the affirmation of the separate self. Everyone get that? It's kind of wild. Now watch for a second. Just kind of flip your mind, right? Flip your heart. Along comes the Eastern Enlightenment. Coincidentally, not coincidentally, using the exact same word, enlightenment. And what does it say? All suffering comes from the belief that you are a, the Western Enlightenment says, right, all suffering comes from not being a separate self. You begin to see the problem? That's kind of wild, right? So the Western Enlightenment says all suffering in the world comes from not believing you're a separate self. Believe you're a separate self, we can move humanity forward and make progress. Yo. Okay? There you go. Eastern Enlightenment says no, the exact opposite. All suffering comes from the belief that you're a separate self. So you have to move beyond that belief in order to attain enlightenment, liberation. Complete contradiction. Does everyone get the problem? This is why no one in the West is interested really in enlightenment, unless they actually have no idea what the West means or what the East means. Why all the things get really fuzzy. Now stay with me for a second. Who's right? Both. Always. No one's smart enough to be entirely wrong. Okay? Right? Right? So this is kind of wild. It's really beautiful. Then we're going to go into the next exercise, but just stay with me kind of like for a few minutes. It's just wildly gorgeous. You see, there's a big mistake in the world. And this mistake is so ecstatic when you realize it, when you move it through, that your whole world changes. And it's going to sound like a nothing when I say it. It's going to sound like, really? I mean, did Wendy really invite us for somebody to tell us this? It's going to like that's the big line? But actually, when you get it, when it actually sinks in, it's psychoactive. It changes everything. And here it is. It's going to sound like nothing. The big mistake is the confusion between separateness and uniqueness. That is the biggest dharmic error in the last 2,000 years of thought, West and East. The Western Enlightenment people got it wrong, and the Eastern Enlightenment people got it wrong, right? And we're going to correct it right now. Okay? Here it is. I can move beyond my separate self and become part of true self and realize that Dr. H and I are part of the same true self. We're one. We're no longer separate selves. We're part of the same seamless code of the universe. We're not separate at all, but we're radically unique, right? Because we're part of the seamless code of the universe. But that seamless code of the universe is seamless, but it's not featureless. It has utterly distinct, unique features, and those features are Hitch and Julia, right? And Jennifer, right? And those are irreducibly unique features of the one. Those are not. Uniqueness is not a function, right, as the East tried to tell us, of your conditioning. Uniqueness is not a function of your ego self. Uniqueness is a function of your essence. Your essence is irreducibly unique. That's a big deal. That means I can move beyond my separate self. I can realize that I'm true self. I can locate myself in the seamless code of the universe, have an awakened experience of sanity, of correct identity, and not lose my uniqueness. You see, almost every Eastern text and lots of Enlightenment teachers say, got to move beyond your separateness and your uniqueness. Right? You open up my friend Marion Williamson in her book, on the Course in Miracles, Return to Love. Right? What's the problem? The problem is you think you're special. If you think you're special, you're not going to find peace. You've got to actually get over that feeling of being unique and special. Then you'll find peace. Precisely wrong. You've got to get beyond your feeling of being a separate self. All of us in this room are part of the seamless code of the universe. Systems theory with depth. We're all part of the great system, all the way up, all the way down. And we are irreducibly unique, not because we're contracted in our uniqueness of our ego, but uniqueness is a property of essence. So the Eastern Enlightenment got precisely half the story. It said, move beyond your separate self. You can do that, right? Move beyond your separate self, but claim your uniqueness. Now the Western Enlightenment said, Don't move beyond your separate self, because if you do that, you'll lose your individual dignity and rights. Right? You'll lose your sense of responsibility. Wrong. You can get your full sense of rights and responsibility from your unique self. You don't need to be separate to have rights and responsibilities. You need to be unique. So the source for Western enlightenment of all rights, all responsibility, all virtue, all relationship, all love is separate self. That's a mistake. It's actually unique self. We don't need to be separate. If you and I, right, are not separate but we're unique, then we each have rights as unique selves. So actually what unique self does is bring together all of the East and all of the West for the first time in a Dharma that can change the world. And what's the Dharma? The Dharma is every human being in the world wakes up. First level awakening, from separate self to true self. Total number of true selves in the world is 1. And then you awaken more deeply and you realize that you have an irreducibly unique perspective. And true self plus perspective equals unique self. Get that? Right? Meaning, I am an irreducibly unique expression of essence that never was, is, or will be ever again. And therefore, I have unique gifts. I have unique responsibilities. I have unique joy. I have unique risks that I have to take. That's not about being separate. That's not about my ego conditioning. That's about my essence. And when you actually awaken in the world and you realize, I have a unique set of needs that I can address in the world that no one in the world can do but me. So Mark Goffey can do 16 catapults, write 18 books. He will never give the gifts that Wendy can give. It's not going to happen. Just not going to happen. And the second I realize it's not going to happen, I can fall madly in love with Wendy. You see that? Hinach yafa rayati. Hinach yafa. But as long as we're competing as separate selves for who's going to give that gift, right? Well, what do you mean, Brian? I got a nice hat. Fuck him. You know what I mean? Really? Jesus, I got a scarf, man. Right? Yeah, yo, right? Right? So as long as, right, I am not in awe of his unique self, because we're somehow competing, because we experience ourselves as separate selves, so we're grasping for who's going to do it, and who's going to get it, and who's going to give it, we can't love each other. But the second I can look at Brian and say, oh my God, God is having a Brian experience. And utterly delight in that and awaken to that, then I can totally fall madly in love with him, because there's no way in the world that Mark Goffey can ever give Brian's gift. You see that? Now stick with me one more step. Teachers and students. If a teacher's teaching true self, if it's an enlightenment teacher's teaching true self, that means the enlightenment teacher ultimately says, I've got more true self than you do. You with me? So therefore I have authority over you. Because true self is the currency. I got more of it than you do. You should listen to me. But if you're teaching unique self-enlightenment, can I have more of your unique self than you do? I don't think so. That's the point. Right? I can't have any of Hitch's unique self. So therefore, my authority is limited. Because in the end, I've got to bow before his unique self. I can guide. I can lay down the Dharma. I can provoke. I can challenge. But in the end, he is self-authoring. He's the only person with authority over him, because the formation matrix of his authority is his unique self. So therefore, the teacher's authority is definitionally limited. The teacher can give transmission. Not the kind of Sam, we're all friends, you can give transmission. Then you stop. And then you bow before the authority of the self-authoring unique self. That's kind of wild. Let's just look at it for 1 second, okay? Just quick 10-second summation, then we're going to play it. Okay, we're going to play it, we're going to practice it. Level 1, separate self. Separate self is you think you're a puzzle piece, but there's no puzzle. It's a very, very depressing experience. You know, here I am, I'm a puzzle piece, right? I mean, I've got all these unique contours, right? I'm getting, like that, and I'm trying to fit in, but fuck, there's no puzzle. Right? That's called existentialist philosophy. Right? It's Camus, right? Mother died today. Maybe it was yesterday. That's how it opens, meaning like, what the fuck? Right? That's like this huge existential cry, like, I'm a puzzle piece. No puzzle. So you kind of like limp around looking for the puzzle. It's not there. And you're kind of like imbalanced because you're kind of unique and different. You don't quite fit in, and you're trying to fit in, but there's no real puzzle to fit into, so you do your best. Right? You do your best. You try and make win-win deals. Right? You try and make it work as best as you can. That's the consciousness of separate self, which is insane. which causes 20 million people to die a year, children. That's that consciousness of being a puzzle piece. I got to get whatever I can because I'm kind of crooked and off balance. I might be a country or a person. Got to do what I can. And again, this is not imagination. This is the consciousness of most of the world, which produces dukkha, suffering, massive suffering. Level 2. Level 2 is true self. True self is the classical enlightenment teaching, which most of the world's not interested in. If it's a great teaching, what's the teaching of true self? Right? I'm not a puzzle piece. I'm a puzzle. I'm the puzzle. Now watch for a second. You look at the puzzle. Anyone ever seen a puzzle that's all completed? You look at the puzzle and there appears to be these lines which seem to indicate separate pieces. They're an illusion. They're an illusion. They're not really there. It's really just one. And if you think they're separate puzzle pieces, meditate a little more, chant a little more, practice a little more, move beyond that illusion of separateness. It's just one. Okay, that's a little maddening because you actually feel like these are really separate puzzle pieces. Like, fuck. Right? Kind of makes you crazy. Kind of like she's having an affair. She says she's not. You know she is, or he, but kind of makes you a little crazy. Right? You know it's true, but they're saying it's not. Right? Like, oh, and your finger kind of goes a little crazy. Like it's bad. Okay? It's bad. It's really bad. Okay? Unique self-consciousness is, right, I'm a puzzle piece and I fit gorgeously, right, through my uniqueness into the all. And the only thing that actually connects me to the all is the unique contours of my puzzle piece. It's like, wow. Like, that's unique self-consciousness. And it can change everything. I'm working on a project now with Brian and Jennifer about how we bring unique self into the business world, which is like wildly exciting. I actually realize I'm a unique business, and I'm part of a larger ecosystem. And if I actually view myself as a kind of puzzle piece without a puzzle, then I'm this brutal crony capitalist business kind of competing with everyone, trying to kind of grab as much as I can. But if I'm a puzzle piece, and I'm part of this larger circle, like, wow, world begins to change. The second I realize I'm a puzzle piece, it all changes. Because you ever seen a puzzle piece when it kind of fits into the puzzle? Ever seen that happen? Yeah. I'm home. I don't have to hold the whole thing. I'm being held. And here's the last piece. And I am ultimately wildly needed. Because without me, there's no complete puzzle. Imagine, Nora's dad, what's your first name? Michael. Okay, so Michael, imagine this. You get a phone call. Do you have a cell phone? Yep. Okay. Just checking. Okay. So, hi, pick up the phone.
Hello.
Hey, yo, this is Barack Obama. How you doing, Michael?
Great.
I heard you got a great daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay, listen, I need you. Okay, there's some shit going down, which we can't handle, and I've been watching you for about 15, 20 years, and you've got like a unique set of gifts and talents and understandings, and actually the world's actually hanging in the balance. I need you, please, will you be there for me? Will you work with me? Yeah, you available? Yeah. Like, yeah. And what's the first thing you do when you hang up the phone? Oh my God, Barack Obama just called me, right? I mean, do you think you're depressed when you hang up the phone? Do you think you have the sense of like, why is there a world? What's the meaning of life? Right? Let me go to a seminar to find out. Right? Perhaps I could meditate. Right? No, Barack, I've got to meditate. You fucker. Right? Unique self-enlightenment means I'm radically needed. Barack Obama called, not Barack Obama, reality called me. Reality called. And reality said, right, I need you. There's a gift that you can give that no one else that ever was, is, or will be can give other than you. Oh my God. It's like, really? Right, now that's not narcissism. You see that? That's actually knowing reality. Right? When you actually have an awakened experience that there's a reality that I can respond to that no one else other than me can respond to. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to start a children's hospital, although it might. It might be I'm going to heal the feminine trauma in my family. Right? There's a lot. It can be private. It can be public. But the actual nature of your unique self is that no one can take it from you. You can live it on different levels, in different ways. It can be dramatic and public. It can be private. No one can take it from you. It's your gift. It's the way you be. It's the way you laugh, the way you love. Right? It's your puzzle piece that gives something to the world that no one else but you can give. And that's not ego. That's not ego at all. It's got nothing to do with ego. Right? That is the unique expression, right, of your true self. That's unique self-enlightenment. That changes everything. Let's say it one more way. Here's this third principle of love. The third principle of love is that you are a unique expression of the love intelligence and love beauty of the cosmos. And by you enacting that love, you can actually speak to a corner of the world which is unloved, and you can light it up and transform it and shift it in a way that no one else in the world can do but you. So you are the actual love intelligence. You are the actual love beauty. You are awake and alive to be lived as love, but not as an amorphic general force. You're awake to be lived as unique love, as a unique expression of that love intelligence and love beauty that can actually give, transform, shift, change, and heal in a way that no one else but you can ever do. Now, do you think that makes you happy? It does. It's ecstatic. It's ecstatic. That's Rumi. That's what Rumi's experiencing. That's what he's experiencing. Right? Forget about beyond right and wrong. Forget about it's all right. Forget about the patterns. They're all beautiful. That's not what he's experiencing. He's experiencing, I'm Rumi. Right? And there's a gift I can give. And you can see it in every line of his writing. Right? Here I am. I'm going to speak this, and this is my voice. And he didn't know about voice prints, but today we do. And my voice is utterly singular and wildly unique. It's my greatness. Right? It's my greatness. My unique self is my greatness that no one else has other than me. So we're going to do a simple practice, okay? We're going to just end with a practice and a chant and a song, you know, right? And we're going to finish this piece of the evening, right, with a chant and a practice and a song. Thank you, sweetheart. Right? Awesome. Awesome. Right? And here we go. So how many people here in the room happen to be, any Catholics in the room? Any Catholics in the room? A couple, one, two, three. Right? If we grew up, okay. So how many of y'all go to confession? Okay? No one goes to confession? Okay. Well, why not? Why not? You know, by the way, that's how the Catholic Church, by the way, maintained an enormous amount of power for 2,000 years. It was actually through blackmail. They actually used confessional to actually maintain power in Europe. You would go confess, right, and they knew everything about you, and they just did blackmail left and right all over Europe. Sadly true, right? So yeah, it's kind of when we kind of think about it for a second, right? You're in a corrupt church, right? You know, kind of like, and so the Catholic Church is beautiful in many, many, many ways, and it's one of the great tragic institutions of history because it wielded power in Europe for 2,000 years, right, in a way that was tragically corrupt. And now it's trying to really heroically and beautifully come to terms with itself and try and kind of evolve, and it's like a big blessing, you know, like total. Okay? So confession. So confession is, it used to be you go and you confess your sins. Okay? But if you confess your sins, like, that's not so helpful because all you know is, well, I fucked up in 10 ways. It's not that encouraging. You know what I mean? So actually, when you go back to the sources, and I want to kind of throw at you some kind of 2-second Dharma here for a second. I'm going to go back to an ancient text from 3,000 years ago, which was the first time in the original Hebrew that confession was ever mentioned. And here's how it reads. I'm just going to read it to you for a second. It's on the overhead. Okay? And forget about any bad experience you had with religion. Forget about the God you don't believe in, because the God you don't believe in doesn't exist. So fuck that. Okay? So I'm just going to give you kind of the source root, kind of living, shimmering Dharma of a text. So here's how confession is described 3,000 years ago. You come before the temple, the priest, and you say as follows: Asiti kichol asher tzivitani. I've done everything perfectly. And you then go on and you recite the perfection of your service. I've done it gorgeously, perfectly. I've missed nothing. All the way, home run, bases loaded. I rock. That's basically the original confession. So that's kind of stunning. Because what's that? That's a confession of greatness, beloved. The confession of greatness. As I confess my greatness. Because what's the one thing in the world that calls me and obligates me? My own greatness. Nothing else calls me. Your greatness doesn't call me. My greatness calls me. Right? Right? But you're called by your greatness. So the only thing that can look at you and say, sister, stand up and love it open, is your greatness. Right? It's like your total, radical, wild, ecstatic greatness. Now, how do you know your greatness? How do you know about it? So everybody in the room knows, because there was at least one time in your life when you experienced it, when you were kind of sang better than you could ever sing. You talked more clearly. You made love, right, like the ultimate lover. You were sharp, clear, awake, right, open, right, receptive, thrusting, right, receiving, transforming. You were just there. You kind of broke 80 yards down, right? It might have been a conversation with your mother, right? It might have been kind of in the middle of a business moment. It might have been in a creative moment of clarity. But everyone in the room, there's not one person in the room who can't find one moment, a sliver of a moment, when you were in your greatness. Okay? So you're your own guru, but we'll follow it for a second. I'm going to throw out you the last piece and we're done. Okay? And then we'll practice it. Here's the piece. Amitat mahuti mitgale berig'e gadluti. The essence of who I am is revealed in my moment of greatness. So we do the opposite, right? We freeze frame people in their moment of fall, right? And we call it scandal, right? And we distort it and play it, and there it lives forever. But actually it's the opposite. Right? We freeze frame our moment of greatness. So I want just a very simple practice. I'm going to try and do it in silence of presence, holding the energy. We're going to kind of hear the flute before we go into the practice. So we're going to actually identify a partner. We're going to identify a partner in silence of presence because we're not going to leave to the old religions the ability to enact ritual. You get that sentence? We're not going to leave to the old religions the ability to enact ritual. We're going to enact ritual ourselves in this postmodern, post-traditional move of democratizing enlightenment because it's us. So I'm going to ask Tanya, just kind of create the space. After, in silence of presence, we've just identified a partner. So just kind of tap your partners, make sure you have one, right? And kind of sit facing that person. So I know it's going to require a little movement, but just sit facing that person. Awesome. And the person with the shorter hair after Tanya's introduction is going to speak first. So try and work out that shorter hair issue right now if you can. No. Silence of presence. Silence of presence. Just hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Okay, we're good. We're good. Good. Awesome. The person with shorter hair who goes first is going to confess their greatness. The person who is receiving the confession is the high priest, the high priestess. And the high priest, the high priestess is the mother, is the beloved. It's who Rumi writes about, who holds the space. And they have a 3-word Dharma. Right? You talk, let's say you're the person with the shorter hair, you confess your greatness, and then if you you stop for a second, or you need a little encouragement, the high priest or the high priestess says, is there more? That's it, is there more? But that high priest and high priestess is holding the space, is the axis mundi, is the pillar that connects heaven and earth. And we are moving towards the democratization of enlightenment, and I want to ask us to do this exercise not merely for the sake of those who are in the room at this moment, but for the sake of the democratization of enlightenment, for the sake of the evolution of love, for the sake of bringing this Dharma into the world, right? Bringing it down, and so it can actually begin to burst forth as we in this post-traditional world reclaim the power of our enlightenment, reclaim the power of enlightened and radical love, the democratization of greatness. It's no one else but us. We're the leading edge of the leading edge. We're alive at a moment in history that everyone would have died to be alive in. And we're actually in that moment of history the most comfortable, the most spacious, the most available free time, right? The most available resources. So it's up to us. There's no one else who's going to do it but us, and the world's changing every second. Right? The evolution of consciousness is moving, and we're participating in this moment, right here, right now, in the evolution of love through this exercise. So I invite us, you, me, all of us, to set our intention. I'm doing this not merely for the sake of my own spiritual materialism. Wow, got a great car, and I'm enlightened. I'm doing it for the sake of the evolution of love, for the sake of the evolution of consciousness, as my gift, offering it up. So the person with the shorter hair goes first, and you find one incident which you were in your greatness, and you confess through that incident your greatness to the person that you're working with, and they just say, is there more? Is there more? And as the high priest, high priestess, they utterly receive it. Then when we finish the first round, which will take about 3 minutes we'll give it, we'll stop, we'll hear music again, and we'll do round 2. Confession of greatness. Shorter here first. 1, 2, 3, go.
To meet my thousand pieces, I roam the stern. Dirty as blade of grass with the sun's love stands in this strange self.
Particularly the last one. And just bringing together acute observation and attention.
That's what I do with everyone.
Continuing and bumbling in that way.
Things as well now. Just be sunrises, spaces, energies, ideas.
Sometime let some of it leak out.
Realizing it's I feel better for sure. I see myself as a center to be feeling major realizations to those artistic personal expressions. It's a deeper I realize the message that I continue to receive from my work. Even though this is a place where my career anxiousness will arise, to be the more whatever I do comes to the world more fully, and knowing how much fun last night
Another minute? High priest says, is there more? A lot more of who I am.
Changing myself now into them when I have to be the maker
Much more.
or product-related project work. All that part of myself, the internal
try and wrap it up. 30 seconds. First confessor wraps up. Ten seconds in the holy ritual. Person with the longer hair confesses, the shorter hair is the high priest. Give it everything you got. 1, 2, 3, go.
I realized the other day, a few weeks ago, about
Intelligence and creativity moves through my body and release.
I misunderstanding I'm sorry to take on this God. The only way worship is to show myself directed the rest of my life. And so we just to because it was something I felt like it wasn't going to and found myself I was living reflecting on their greatness and their beauty and power in a way that felt so easy, simple, and clean. It just felt like that was the only thing I could do. That was who I was, who I am, and all of my soul. And in it, I felt such an amazing awareness, such a power, sensation, and just not seeing them as anything but they really are.
Inside of here
began to wash the cell of my body.
I just felt full
My neural structure
power
was shifting
and
with like a year and a half. My whole life
trying to
had to be restructured from just after birth
being a mirror
to present. And it is
there's something just very
shifted my
in a way more exquisite that I felt openly just felt like
today,
has helped me
today I made love with my
deepen
and there was a moment when I had his copy and
my
I
greatness in the moment is going through
still
internally every part of
it
myself
was more an expression of making love the divine
parts that don't know yet.
in the moment of not knowing myself and not knowing this person that it was lovable.
Is there more?
I see greatness budding.
Another minute?
Quality presence. There's a strength and power that can bring them into indicates the greatness. Whole and complete. Integrity.
It feels like a moment of
Bring them together.
unidentification or identification with God.
Start to wrap it up. Confession of greatness.
saying to get what I wanted to get. It's almost felt so accepted, not just for giving you the expression. My heart was accepted, which was so
blossoms for the very few times in my life. It's my ability to really listen and commune.
Another 10, 20 seconds.
To know and take
Last question, is there any more?
Yes, much more.
And the room slowly goes silent as we hold the confessions of greatness of the enlightened beings in this room who realize the essence of who I am is revealed in my moment of greatness. I am a unique expression of the love, intelligence, and love beauty of the cosmos. The third principle of love. The first principle, I fall in love with you. The second principle, love is a perception. The third principle, love is a unique self-perception. I perceive your infinite, wild, gorgeous, unique beauty, and my heart is aflame. And I look at you and I say, Hinach yafa rayati, Hinach yafa, 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 and I reach out, Hinach yafa rayati, Hinach yafa, 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 Hinach yafa rayati, Hinach yafa. For everyone who's not in the room, Hinach yafa rayati, Hinach yafa. You're gorgeous. Hinach yafa rayati, Hinach yafa. And for everyone who would have liked to be in the room, but they would never come. Yafa rayati. We're bringing them in now. Hinach yafa, Hinach yafa rayati, Hinach yafa. And for that one part of us that's not yet in the room, Hinach yafa rayati, Hinach yafa, Hinach yafa rayati, Hinach yafa. And for our community, Hinach yafa rayati, Hinach yafa, Hinach yafa rayati, Hinach yafa. Last time. Hinach yafa rayati, Hinach yafa, Hinach yafa rayati, Hinach yafa. Woo! Yo! Yo! Amen, 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 amen. Deep bow to the source in the center of the room. Amen. Deep bow to the source in the center of the room. And our holy intention, and it's a deep thank you to Wendy for creating the space and making it happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. To Dean, who was exhausted, and we called him this morning and asked him to come by. To Leslie, who kind of put it all together. To Tanya, who kind of created magic. Big hand for everybody. Big hand for everybody. Big hand for everybody. Yeah, big hand for everybody. Yeah, total. Yeah. And our intention, our kind of audacious, humble, right, chutzpah, wild intention, is to actually do the Dharma together. So every couple of months, we're going to get together, just do Dharma. Again, we're going to go step by step, right? Kind of post-traditional, in the Dharma, all the way, no compromises, no holds barred. Okay? And we're going to try and have, together with Brian and Jennifer and Tanya and Wendy and Hitch is going to come along, and Jim, we're going to try and have like maybe like 2 spring and summer, 2 Dharma parties. Kind of Dharma parties, kind of into the night, kind of doing the Dharma, singing it, dancing it, right? So we want to kind of bring this Dharma thing together. And it's not, we're not going to advertise it any place. It's word of mouth, talking to people, kind of create that thing, okay? Right? Anything that, we any kind of money that creates out of it, it's just going to be to create a kind of record of it, right? It's going to be totally for the sake of the Dharma, okay? So blessings, everyone. Thank you. Big hand to everyone together. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Yo.
Big hand for Mark.
Yo.
Mark, thank you so much. I wept from the minute you walked in the room, and oh my God, you did not let me down is what I was going to say, but it was beyond my expectations. I am humbled and honored and in such gratitude to have you here. You are welcome anytime, as often as possible, please. And thank you for sharing with so many of my friends this incredible gift. Yeah. And I want to just mention we have Mark's gifted this, but I also would love to gift back to Mark. So we've got a request for donations here, and please give everything you have in your purse or wallet. And there's also some books, and I'm going to bring out some prasad for us to enjoy. And there's some mint tea. What is prasad? It's it's like a devotional food that you eat at the end of a spiritual experience. As a way to, so it's essentially like the what you give to the gods or the teachers, and then you imbibe it. So we're going to imbibe. So please, fall in love. Go ahead, just fall in love. I'll get the prasad.
Wait. One thing I want to say to you.
Yes.
Anach yafar Wendy. Anach yafar. Anach yafar Wendy.